pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is no public comment tonight, so we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions or concerns?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same side. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is the public hearing to consider condemnation of the property located at 403 West 14th Street. Mr. Carmen.
Mayor, Commissioners, as you stated, we are here to set a public hearing for the property located at 403 West 14th Street. Mrs. Lashley, the owner of the property, actually is here tonight, and she just informed me, because I haven't had a chance to talk to her about this since I sent letters out, that she has a contractor lined up to start in 2 weeks. Now, contract, I believe, Anders? Yeah, he's a licensed contractor with us, so I haven't talked to him about this property yet or his intentions, but I let Miss Lashley know that we need to have a plan, and you guys will allot the time or some time to do this, but they're going to have a plan and be executing that plan to keep the property. And she says she has intentions of doing that. He's supposed to start in 2 weeks. She's here to would answer questions if you have one too.
Mark, I do think probably since this was a public hearing that we need to present our case.
Yes,
That
sir.
way the commission can make a decision if it's unsafe or dangerous house. And then after the homeowner speaks, the commission then can base their decision. So
All you're doing tonight is scheduling a
public
public
hearing.
hearing.
No,
Right.
this is the hearing.
Oh, this is the public hearing.
This is the
I'm
hearing.
sorry.
Yep.
Next
Is this-
one, the Webster
The
one.
next,
is-
yeah,
is
the next one
scheduled.
is
Okay,
setting
you're right.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Are these pictures?
Yes, sir. And these are current, or these were the, German, these are the previous ones or the ones I just gave you?
These are the ones that I just received today.
These are the pictures from yesterday.
And
you-
Nothing's changed really.
No,
how long has it been in this condition?
several months. And she has a contractor lined up. I wish I'd have got to talk to him before to see what the plan was exactly, because it's extensive damage.
This was a fire, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How long ago?
Been quite a while, hasn't it? To be quite honest, it's probably been a year ago or more. Plans fell through that she was going to try and take it down at that point. And then, did you move, Miss Lashley, from here then?
Yes, I moved and
Yes.
I talked to my son and he told me that let them come and inspect, rebuild it.
It is extensive damage, but it could be rebuilt.
Do you have insurance proceeds to help with defray the cost? Do you have insurance funds to help pay for this? You're welcome to come up.
I don't believe it was originally.
I didn't hear the question.
I'm sorry, do you have insurance funds to help pay for the cost of the repair to the structure?
Oh, my son, he live in Colorado and he is the one who's taking care of it. He said he would pay for it.
I think he's asking you, was there insurance at the time of the fire?
Oh, no, there wasn't.
I mean, it's going to cost a lot to repair this.
I know. But he really deal with stuff like this in Colorado, so that's how come he got someone to check it out to see if it need to be demolished, or if it could be saved, and they say yes, they can rebuild it. So,
Okay.
I probably will call and talk to him and see what his plan is.
okay, sure, I can give you his number.
I have it.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay, yes.
Thank you.
Just wondering, and maybe it's too early to ask this type of question, what's the time frame that whatever is going to get done?
I don't know exactly, but at least I would at least like if you could give me 1 month. That way in that period to get it done.
Typically on something like this, it's 4 to 6 months because of the
Yes.
damage.
Yeah.
You'll have to take a lot.
The resolution says October 16th, 2018.
That's,
The because that's what you typically put in there.
yes.
So the resolution that'll come before you later gives her until October 16th, 2018 to,
Right.
So we can go and proceed regardless.
you can go ahead and proceed, and then you can grant an extension if
Right.
it's appropriate.
That's
to-
At that
typically what
time,
we
if you
do.
choose to.
Yeah, we'll do the resolution
At a, it's a
Right.
different-
hearing as
During the
part
reg-
of the new business. yeah.
Right.
And I'll find out everything I can and get that information to Mr. Dingle, so.
That sounds fine. So please proceed with your plan, and then keep in touch with Mr. Carmen
I
to
shall.
let him know which direction you're going to go.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, moving on, next item. Our appointments tonight. Appointment of Mike Ryan to a two-year term on the Food Council Policy Board.
I'm not going to comment on all these. These are food council policy. The council does wonderful work. We've got a lot of programs going, so.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to, you want me to do all of them down the list?
I do one at a time since we list them
Okay, I'll
separately.
make a motion to accept the reappointment of Mike Ryan to the 2-year term on the Food Council Policy Board.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Make a motion to accept the appointment of Mark Hatcher to a 2-year term on the Food Council Policy Board.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Make a motion to accept the appointment of Tonette Hammonds to a 2-year term on the Food Council Policy Board.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I make a motion to accept the appointment of Kelly Graham to a 2-year term on the Food Council Policy Board.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next thing is new business, consideration of resolution R 2838, declaring 403 West 14th Street as an unsafe and/or dangerous structure unfit for human use or habitation.
Mayor Landis, of course, this is follow-up from the hearing. If the commission wishes to move forward, this resolution gives 120 days or until October 16th for them to make progress. And at that point in time, you can always extend or, depending on,
Level of progress.
right.
Do you have anything else, Mark?
No, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Make a motion, we approve Resolution R 2838, give the property owner 120 days to repair or remove the structure at 403 West 14th.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is resolution number R 2839, setting a public hearing date of July 10, 2018, to address declaration of 404 North Webster as an unsafe and/or dangerous structure unfit for human use or habitation.
Mayor Landis, that needs, if you look at the resolution, it says the 17th, because we don't have a meeting on the 10th. So the resolution is correct, just the front page is not.
Okay, 17th,
Yes.
as amended.
Can you talk a little bit about that particular house? I know I drove by it and it's all boarded up. and-
Yeah, we had to secure it because there was cats.
Cats going in and out of
Going
that
in
thing
and
for
out, and-
months.
We sh- did our best to make sure we shoot them out of there, and then we had a board up letter and it had no contact whatsoever from the owner. It surprises me because we tore down the house next door about two years ago, and he came to see me after it was gone. So I figured they would be in here. Didn't happen. We waited about 3 weeks from the letter and boarded it up because I guess the cats were going just in and out. And I don't know if somebody was actually holed up in there or what, but someone pushed the east door on Webster enough. It wasn't an animal. It's too big a hole. So we made sure there wasn't anybody in there when we boarded it up, though.
Well, that's good.
And we do have the right to secure a building. I mean, that's in our code, so.
That's
Mark's following code.
That's one of the things that makes it an unsafe structure is when they're unsecured.
Is there any further questions for Mr. Carmen?
Make a motion for consideration of resolution number R 2839, setting a public hearing date of July the 17th, 2018, to address declaration of 404 North Webster Street as an unsafe and or dangerous structure unfit for human use of habitation.
So,
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Next item is consideration of change order number 5. Increase in cost by $1,990.33. And change order number 6, increase in cost by $27.59.32 to the municipal building and fire department plumbing and renovation project. Mr. Deem. Our revolving door change order
Yeah.
policy.
We're closing that door, that's for sure. So these are some of the last items, trying to pick this up and finish the job is what we're doing. And at the very end of the project, must say going around and around with the contractors working on stuff and picking up some of the last. We've had some plumbing issues, coming up and through the tower, hose tower, just more items, that are coming and going, and trying to finish this off and close it. So we've been working with them back and forth to make that happen. As you can see, kind of spelled them out on some of the issues here.
How soon
And
would it be completed if we
these-
approve things tonight?
I'm sorry?
How soon would it be completed if we approved everything tonight?
They are doing just the last touch-ups at the moment. We have went back through with them, and hopefully he's even over there tonight trying to patch them up and painting and so forth. So all of the guts of it are closed up now. So that's where we're at. And that's it. Those are the touch-up items where we stand, and we're issued a punch list and set all that out. So that's where we stand.
Chief Johnson satisfied with the work?
At this time, sir, the work is looking really good. We have just a few minor items that we have to finish up.
And we're still well below the budgeted cost
Well below.
by nearly $100,000, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, with an old structure, you never know what you're going to get when you open a wall,
And that was a lot of the issue.
right?
Yeah, so
I feel your pain.
all in all, I don't think we've had any plumbing issues, have we? So looking at people, yeah. So absolutely. And that was the main thing.
Any further questions for Mr. Dean?
Just a comment. So whenever it is all done, the punch sheet is completed and everything, I'm sure if something came back up, it's got some coverage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the warranties are there, and the contractors for a year. Absolutely.
Any further questions?
I make a motion to approve change order number 5 and change order number 6, the City Hall renovation project as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next item is consideration of the agreement with Pawnee Mental Health Services as the Employee Assistance Program Provider. Mr. Dinkle.
Mayor Landis and Commissioners, as part of in our employee benefits, we do offer a employee assistance program for people having needs. The contract we had was quite outdated, so they updated here. And so they're offering to be on call or have this available to employees at 50 cents per employee per month. A normal process most employers have, allowing that employee have needs of the mental health area, it's available to them.
For commissioners too, or?
I can't
These
say what
meetings, you know, I don't
I
know.
can't say what I'd like to say, sir.
55 cents for us, probably.
So the 50 cents per employee, so if an employee needed help, is there further cost as well, or is that?
Well, it's going to be on time. I mean, this is the initial, it says initial cause in there. I mean, if there's some long-term things, they'll kick in, but our health insurance will kick in too then. So, but it's just,
Initial
it's a
evaluation.
24-hour, it's to get them going, someplace to go. I think it's very important,
Yep, I agree.
especially we deal, with a lot of different issues, and it's a good thing to have.
Especially with this day and age.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Struggles.
Move to approve the agreement between the City of Junction City and Pawnee Mental Health Services.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is consideration to allow the bid process for the playground park improvements.
Mayor Landis and Commissioners, I'm going to defer to Joy or Kendall or a combination there, Mary Kay. The park, the Quality Play for Community, as you know, has done a superb job beginning last year when getting through the process. Now we are to the point of bidding it out, but since we are receiving funds for Community Development Block Grant, there's certain rules we now have to follow, and one of them is the commission needs to approve moving out to bid, and then we'll go from there. But they've done a super job getting to this point.
Got it right side.
I got it right there.
Okay.
Here's the site plan.
Good evening, and thanks for having us again this evening. I'm going to do more reading than I usually do because it's dates and things that don't stay in my head very well. But I want to say that we're really excited about being here tonight because tonight we hope that you are approving the bid specs for the Fifth Street Playground Park equipment. And that means that we're about to purchase some things for the playground. So that's a very positive thing. And if we work together as a community and get some cooperation from the still to be determined vendor, because that after the bid specs go out, then it'll be in the paper, and then they've got a certain amount of time. And so anyway, if everything goes smoothly, and we've gone pretty smoothly so far up to this point, we could have some new playground equipment at Fifth Street Park in mid to late September, which would be fabulous.
Wonderful.
So tonight, we hope that you will approve the bid document. And then the next step on June 12th, so that'd be next Tuesday, this will be published in the paper. And that opens it up to all vendors who want to put in a bid. And they have until July 10th to do that. And then we will accept the bid that meets our request, the lowest bid that meets our request for the equipment. That's what we have to take as the lowest bidder, or it might be a pair of them or something. And then the vendor then has, so that's mid-July, and the vendor then has 6 weeks to deliver the equipment and come help us install it at Fifth Street Park, so that's September. And that leaves about 6 weeks in there to do some work at Fifth Street Park as far as getting the ground ready for the new equipment. We have to do, there has to be some work done. But I'm hoping that with the city and with volunteers and with some professionals that we've engaged, that can all happen. And Kendall, I don't know, was this in
It
the,
is, it should be in your packets.
No, the map didn't get in. We didn't have that.
I'm happy to send this out. This is an updated site plan that shows we're referring to as a kidney bean with AstroTurf, a large rope structure, tower, ADA inclusive swings, zip line, some musical instruments, and a kid zone. Happy to answer any questions.
All the equipment is listed on the back here. One thing, since this is a bid, a community development block grant, that we have to refrain from naming brand names, identifying something that's just exclusive to Playground Company A. And they did a good job, and we've ran everything through our grant coordinator, grant monitor, Justine Benoit with Northwest Kansas Plan Development, which we hired last year. So she's ran through everything, so we meet all the grant requirements, because trust me, when it all gets done, we'll get audited, because they audit them all. And make sure we follow all the protocols, and we're spot on right now.
so,
Are there any certification or classes or any type of requirements that city staff needs to do to be qualified to install this stuff?
well, actually, the vendors will come, whoever gets the bid, it's their responsibility to come and supervise a certain number of days. And then we can have the city staff, and we can also have volunteers.
I've done 2 playgrounds in my career, and both of them, we hired a consultant come. And a lot of people are willing to help. I mean, people say, hey, I want to put up playground equipment that's good for the community. I want to be part of it. A neighboring community I was in tried that one time, because as guys think we don't need instructions. Well, they worked for months, and the town I was in, we hired the person, and literally they take Jeff and I and put us off in the corner and go, you do this. And they may put Mr. Brown over here, and he'll be the nut and bolt guy sorting things. It's really a fun thing to do, because when the volunteers show up, by having the consultant around, and they've done this before, you came to volunteer some time, and they're gonna make you work for 8 hours, and you're gonna, when you get done, you're gonna go, yeah, it was worth my day coming out. And hopefully we can get some groups to do some food and stuff like that.
I've had a lot of people already offer to volunteer, probably more, because sometimes too many is too much, so.
It's an amazing process with the consultant, with the person there. They know what they're doing, they build a ton of them, and trust me, you'll be just amazed. It's poetry in motion almost.
I have,
Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead. The only concern I have is liability, and the zip line thing bothers me. How high is that off the ground? I mean,
Well, so it depends on the vendor, the specific vendor that would reply. All the fall height requirements and the ground cover respect and meets all of the safety requirements for each particular vendor.
okay,
The one that we are most interested in is a double zip line with a 2-bay, so you could have 2 zip lines side by side. And because it's double, you can basically have 2 queues on either end, so it's not a one-way zip line. We toured a number of parks in Kansas City, and the zip line was very popular at all of the parks that we went and viewed. In terms of the fall height and safety requirements, those are all spec'd by the vendor, and as long as you have either wood mulch or an AstroTurf surface underneath that, in this case for the zip line, it's off to the side and it's gonna have wood mulch, that satisfies all of the fall safety requirements
Okay.
for that piece of equipment.
great, thank you.
And they're a real lot of fun.
We have a couple of photos of Joy testing.
Very good.
2 questions. Will you retain any of the equipment that's there now? And then any equipment that you don't, do you have another place in the community that it can go, or does it have to go away?
Sure, so I think the piece of equipment, there are 2 pieces of equipment that have been tagged that we're gonna retain are the elephant, and our plan is to raise some additional funds to have that refurbished and repainted and safety potentially upgraded on that specific piece of equipment. Also the wagon. Some people are very passionate about keeping the wagon and putting that somewhere in the park. All of the other equipment is nearly 25 plus years old. It's really at the end of its useful life. I'm not sure that it's worth retaining. If there's a particular party that's interested in that, I think the city potentially would entertain that, but I don't have any plans. I've not had anyone show expressed interest in that. I'm not sure that makes a whole lot of sense based on the condition of that specific equipment, but I think we're open to options there.
I'm not sure that, an individual, okay, but I'm not sure that another school or playground or whatever, I don't believe the equipment would be able to be insured. It's just too worn out.
Right.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Any other questions? Well, this is a tremendous project. We are very indebted to you guys for everything that you've done in the survey, all the stuff, all the research, all the site visits you did, and sticking with it. Thank you very much.
I want Kendall to say one more thing.
Sure.
Tell him we're not done.
Yeah, we've got a lot more planned. So the site plan is really a 4 to 5 year plan, and we're speccing additional pavilions, an ADA bridge across the channel for the water ravine. There, the vision of this is really a five-year plan with multi-phases, increased parking, potentially redoing the bathrooms. Right now, we're focused on the playground equipment. But this is going to be a longer-term cohesive plan to try to standardize a lot of the park benches and trash cans and really beautify Junction City with a core overarching strategy for our parks. So that's our core objective.
Wonderful.
And we've had Quad Valley work with them on layouts, and so this committee's done a good job of thinking, if we want to do this in year 3, what do we have to do in year 1, so we don't tear stuff out and, when we put it in.
We worked
So
twice, yep.
they've done a good job.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
We need a motion to allow this to go to publication for request for bids.
Make a motion to move forward with the bidding process for the playground project.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Next item is consideration of grant permission to Associated Environmental Incorporated to install monitoring wells within 350 feet of the facility at 223 North Washington Street.
You skipped F.
Did I?
Yep.
Boy, I'm really on,
Yes, you did.
on top of it tonight, aren't I?
Because I thought my page was out of order.
All right, let's go back to F. Discuss regarding possible projects for application of 2019 Community Development Block Grant.
One thing, Mayor Landis and Commissioners, that we are indebted to the Playground Group was they did this wonderful low and moderate income survey last fall. The low and moderate income level is something that we can use. And the survey for a project that is citywide in nature, the survey is good probably to at least 2021, maybe 2022, until the 2020 census come out. So it gives us an opportunity to take a look at doing some other work. One project that a few of us have talked about on the surface, and maybe we decide if we want to go somewhere else, is to take a look, and one project kind of surfaced between talking to Leon and Mayor Landis and others, and Ray, is start work on Spring Valley Road, basically a little north of Joy's house, and start there and go on south part of the way, because that's going to be the expensive piece there, because you got the radiuses to Ash to Liberty Hall Road and everything else. But identify that as a project, add about $1.4 million and request $700,000. It's a community-wide project because it serves the senior center, the fairgrounds, it services a school, a middle school. It'll be integral to the high school down the road. One of our largest employers, ACT, is at the end of that there. You have the manufacturing company, we have a business park. You can just list all the reasons why it's considered a community thing we could use to survey. I have talked to Deb Oldie, and we're talking to her. Deb worked with the group last year writing it, and she is working with somebody else, and we'll get that together. But shortly, we have to identify our project, because probably by next month, we really got to start moving forward with some engineering, at least some cost estimates, get them finalized. So if there's any other project to toss out there, we need to toss it out right now and take a look at it. But I think this is a project in an area that definitely needs to be worked on. I think the long-term goal is to make Spring Valley south as good as it is north, and because that's a major use street, which I think is just going to increase in the future.
Just wondering, I like that idea, because I do walk on Spring Valley a lot, and it is a very, very busy street that definitely needs some work. Sidewalks. Do we include sidewalks for the kids
Yeah,
walking?
I mean, it's going to have, because you got kids there, yeah, definitely.
I think that's one of the most fitting projects, so I don't know that we need to.
We
Yeah.
just consensus to move forward.
Well, the other one, I think this is probably more important, but the one I was going to mention was the dam at Homer's Pond. It needs repair of about $500,000. And it's going to have to be done sometime or another, because we're on notice for that. I don't know that it needs to be done next year, as long as we have a plan in place for money together. But if we want to be able to shop our insurance rates around, we got to get that place fixed. So.
That'd be a good project, too, no doubt.
I mean, I think that the Spring Valley one's probably more important, more visibility, but we can't overlook taking care of that dam.
Yep.
So,
And we can use the survey results for the next couple years, correct?
Yeah, as long as it's community-wide project, the dam might have to get that approved.
yeah, and I don't know, I'm just throwing that
Yeah,
out there. I
I
just
mean,
know it's something
I thought
we've
that
got
it
on
was
our horizon.
automatic, but Deb told me, no, it gotta be, since it was a community-wide survey for a community-wide project, it has to be a community-wide project, so.
Okay.
Not saying it wouldn't be, but I
Right.
don't know that one. This one, Spring Valley Road is easy.
Right, I mean, it's a really beat-up old county road, quite
With
honestly.
with a lot of services that, you have to, it services people going to middle school as well as the new high school and the Spring Valley School and Fairgrounds Senior
Better
Center.
visibility.
Voting, I mean, just, yeah.
A lot of visibility.
So we'll move forward unless there's,
And we can apply for these each year,
yes, sir.
so,
The only, and as long as you keep moving forward with the projects, and we are, this project, if you get this project funded, it'd be funded next year, and it would probably be a year later till it's done. It'd be tough to get it done
it's a
the
huge
same year.
project,
Yeah, it'd be tough to get it done the same year,
those intersections and everything.
yeah.
One last question. Since we were working on the sewer project down there, would this kind of like not tie,
It won't affect it.
it won't affect it? Okay.
Okay, so we just need a discussion on that one, right?
We all agreed that.
Yep.
Spring
Yeah,
Valley
Spring
was-
Valley
Fence is
is
fine,
the
yeah.
most
Yeah.
important.
You'll get your chance to make motions this fall on it, so.
So next item, G, consideration to grant permission to the Associated Environmental Incorporated to install monitoring wells within 350 feet of the facility at 223 North Washington Street.
Maryland is a commissioner, this I think we've had before, at least with some of the different commissioners here. There were fuel storage tanks taken out. I'm assuming the property owner put it in this storage tank trust fund. KDG does all the work. They have identified contamination. Now they want to put 2 to 3 monitoring wells in the ground to monitor it. And I think you need to do it because one is it's protecting the city and the people there. And long-term will be to remove the contamination from the water and the soil. But they need permission to drill. It looks like 2 wells in the area for monitoring wells. And we have those around town now. So nothing new, just, the location. And I just think that the commission needs to approve these.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant permission to the Associated Environmental Incorporated to install monitoring wells 350 feet of the facility at 223 North Washington Street.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is consideration to award the purchase of UPM pothole patch materials to APAC Shears of Salina, Kansas in the amount of $40,500. Mr. O'Hara.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, we're looking for consideration to award a bid for the pothole material, the UPM material that we call it, from APAC Shears of Salina, Kansas. Public Works goes out for various bids on these type of materials for our course of the year. We went out for a bid on May 17th, and then we had one qualified bidder, which was APAC Shears from Salina. And when we requested the bid, we request for delivery price and a pickup price in case they're not able to get that to us. And so the delivered price is $135 a ton. We're looking at 300 tons, so that was for $40,500. And then a pickup price for us would be $125 a ton, which would make it $37,500 for 300 tons. APAC was awarded the bid last year. The price has gone up $5 a ton, and that's usually because of the special oils that they use. Oil prices have gone up, and we like this material. It's a very good material. They got a guarantee with it, and they make 4 different types for each season that's out there. So that material typically stays in the potholes that we fill. So we're just requesting that bid to APAC Shears for 300 tons of a UPM for $40,500. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
You have this delivered as needed?
Yes, as needed.
And so we pay as needed then?
As needed, correct. And typically, since we've been doing our street maintenance project, we haven't had to order 300 tons.
Okay.
It's been typically a little bit less.
There are no other qualified bidders around?
There is one other outfit that does make UPM, and then they are from Lawrence, Kansas, and they haven't been bidding because I don't think the delivery price from Lawrence to here versus Salina to here
You'll have a chance then.
can make them compete.
Okay.
Closer.
I make a motion, we approve the award of bid for purchase of the city's annual UPM pothole patch materials to APAC Shears of Salina, Kansas for the amount not to exceed $40,500 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next is discussion regarding stormwater and drainage fees. Mr. Dinkle.
Mayor Landers and Commissioners, last meeting we talked about this, and in my letter I identified 3 projects that are kind of right out front, the Homer's Pond, which the Mayor alluded to earlier, $500,000. We got a drainage issue at Faith Tabernacle Church we have to address, roughly $250,000. And then price for being near the water plant has to be addressed, and that could be in that $250,000 range as well. There's other projects too, but my purpose of asking for a rate increase is to start building the funds up. As you know, and I've told you before, $300,000 of our funds goes to debt service. And so, the other argument would be is you could take the $300,000 and tax people for it and raise your taxes, but that's not the way it was chosen to done, and I'm very fine with it. So, I made some suggestions in my letter about increases. Basically $2 on the residential accounts, and then going up a little bit on some of the commercial ones, on the larger ones, to somewhat be in line.
And the last time these were put in place was 2009,
Right.
correct?
And you had a proposal in front of you, I believe, in 14 before I got here. And that one really was going to raise a lot of money, and I get it, there's projects to do, it'd be a Cadillac version. It was one that was going to really base it on runoff area.
Permeability.
What you would do is you'd have some businesses, you saw that last chart last month, that would go to 10 to 60, instead of $1,200 a year, to 10 to 60,000 or more per year. In the economic development world, that's just, that's suicide. And I don't think we want to do that. This is a minimal amount of money. It's $2 a person. I realize the percentage and other stuff, but it's a minimal amount to continue to improve our community's projects. Like we said, Homer's Pond, we all can argue that Homer's Pond's fine, but that's not the case with, DWR came in, or Kansas Department of Ag, and has ruled it as such, and we have to deal with it. and we can in those other projects because we do want to maintain the structure. I don't think, we've moved to the phase yet, at one point in time, everyone thought stormwater, the possibility of even having stormwater treatment plants. If that happens, I think most of us it'll be years down the road yet. I'm not saying it won't happen, but we still got to deal with our problems. If we don't increase the funding, we won't be able to deal with the projects, those three I mentioned as such. And there's other minor ones throughout the year as well.
And these are enterprise funds that are dedicated solely to this.
Yeah, they
That's
cannot
why-
be used for anything else.
Right.
Now, you can make the argument that you could do the same thing with tax funds, but then you raise the taxes. The nice part about the utility fund like this, it gives everybody in the community a chance to participate. So anybody that has a water account is going to be paying these, including non-exempt property tax entities, churches and everything pays it. I don't, make any bones about it because the churches help pay for it as well, and schools and everything else. Nobody's exempt from it, and all the tenants and everything else because they get the benefit as well. If you would like this here, we'd have to draw up an ordinance, and we could have it for the next meeting. If you think my rationale, I kind of spelled how many dollars we could raise, and it's rough a little bit because I didn't go through and find out. I found how many different groups, but how many were at each level. But I believe this raised the kind of money that we could use to move forward our projects and keep the rate for a few years that way. And still be reasonable. I didn't want to go unreasonable.
I recall also in 2015, we were presented with, I think it was from the APEC?
AMAC.
AMAC.
And one of the items that was on, that needed attention was that Prices Ravine.
Yeah, and that's the one by the
That's why we got the retention pond
Yeah.
put in for free, but we still have to take care of things downstream.
water plant, between the water plant and Ed's building. Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of an island out there with some trees and stuff, and all that's got to be removed, and then rebuild the sidewall.
But I think we have moved to a more, even though the projects that were discussed in 13 and 14 before I got here were good projects, don't get me wrong. I think, again, it's trying to live within our means and do projects that are most applicable. And then also, like in the case of Homer's Pond, as the mayor said, since it was listed as a high-risk dam, and again, we could argue all day long, but it was ruled that way, we can't get insurance companies to build our property insurance because, you still got a high-risk dam. I visited with a local agent this spring, and he checked with a insurance company. He says, "You still got that dam?" "Yeah."
Yeah, so no, we can't shop our rates around
Right.
just because of that one thing. So we have to address it. We can't address it with the funds we have now.
Well, that and with all the effort going in with the playground park and the walking trail and everything, with the Homer's Pond being right there, it all kind of ties in together.
Oh, you don't want to lose Homer's Pond. I mean, well, I think that one estimate we had one time, it would take a couple $100,000 even to take the dam out. And it was totally ridiculous. I mean, Homer's Pond is part of this community. I mean, you've always had Homer's Pond. I mean, very few can remember when it wasn't there, so. If these rates are somewhat where you want to be, we can do an ordinance to bring it to the next meeting.
I'm fine with the rate structure as presented.
I'm
Yep.
fine with it.
We'll move forward with it then. Thank you.
Everyone good?
Yep.
Next item is change the date of the budget work session previously scheduled for June 6th for department presentation of budgets.
Mayor Landis, we have a situation tomorrow night. There's an event at Fort Riley that none of us got invited to. Gerald Martin leaving. I think it's important for our community to be there. So we'll have budget meetings next week on the 13th and 14th, but we need to reschedule that third one. And we can do it in late June. I wouldn't be opposed to moving in July because we're in good shape. Shauna is rocking and rolling here. She got the year ends from the auditor today. The only thing we're still waiting on revenue is from the county, which is due by the 15th. So, I mean, and it comes about that time. So we'll have that in place then. So if you want to go late June, early July, and that could be our mop-up session then.
About the 28th.
I can't do the last week.
Yeah.
We're on vacation.
The other thing you can do, I might get through some trouble with the
We
city clerk,
burn through on the 13th and 14th.
is go through the 3rd and 14th. What was scheduled for tomorrow night? We had,
Building and codes, IT, police, court,
okay,
Britain.
no, police isn't all that bad. I mean, it is what it is pretty well. I mean,
I think
Maybe
that's everybody I had on there.
Just
Yeah.
longer on 13 and 14.
let's take a look at that. Let's,
We've done it in 2 sessions before.
okay, I don't know if we can, might be able to, well, the problem is going to get people here, because we were working around vacations and everything else, employees.
Yeah,
Let's do the 2 next week, and we'll know,
where we're at.
Yeah.
and like I said, we're gonna need a cleanup one anyhow, but maybe we can do it in the first part of July. Because we want to go to publication. I would love to have the hearing on the 7th of August. State law says you have to have by the 15th, but we also could do it on the 21st because you don't have to have the 10 days in between. And, I mean, you could do the hearing on the 21st of August and have it to the county clerk by the 25th. That's not a problem. But we have plenty of time. We're in good shape. I mean, Shauna has done rock star work, so. Totally.
How about Wednesday, the 20th of June?
That's not good.
That's not good? Okay. I'll shoot for July then.
Let's get through and we'll see where we go.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
On that note,
Next item, consideration to award the tax exempt lease purchase bid to First Bank with an interest rate of 3.295%.
Mayor Landis and Commissioners, we sent out for bids, and I think you have to look at interest rates. When you look at total dollars, you get drawn to some other ones. But if you look at their proposals, they start the loan at different time. We want to start the loan as soon as possible. And so if you would do that, they're going to adjust anyhow. So the lowest interest rate is the bid from First Bank, of 3.295. It is 5-year with no prepay penalties, not that we would pay ahead, but you can.
I was going back through, I didn't catch the effective dates, I guess.
Well, we'll start it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
What they did was is some of them in there, when they extracted their dollars out there, that one, maybe the first one, had it as July. And so the first amount of interest, if you go from July to January, it is, even though the interest rate is higher, it's less than total dollars than somebody went from June. And we want to get them in place now, get our money returned here, but, so, and they all do that. I mean, I would say it's strictly an interest thing because it's based on the number of days, and that's what they're going to bill you anyhow.
Questions?
No.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to award the tax exempt lease purchase bid to First Bank with an interest rate of 3.295%.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Commissioner comments? Mr. Underhill?
We had a chamber meeting 2 weeks ago, I believe. They're moving forward with putting together the new master agreement that will come before us in the county and everybody for approval. The young professionals are hosting the 2019 statewide YP Summit here in Junction. That'll be next May. Geared Up Dads through the hospital. I'm on that board. They're doing fantastic things in our community with families and dads. We'll have our second annual Brandon Stroda Memorial Fishing Derby later this summer, and we're looking to host that at the Riverwalk Pond this time instead of Homer's Pond. Junction City Brigade Baseball's going on at Raythert. They kicked off their season on Sunday. Great time out at a great facility, so get as many people as possible out there. And then I wanted to thank Phyllis and everybody who helped with the planting on East Chestnut, and everything out there looks fantastic. So thank you for your work on that. And that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Albritton.
Just want to first say a huge thank you to the park committee. See Joy, I'm glad you stayed around, and to everybody else that helped out with that. That is a very tremendous project, and I think one of the things that really stick out to me is I never was really too much into parks until I had my little one. And as when you have a little one, parks become an important detail. So you begin to look at them and examine them in a different way you never looked at them before. And especially with a lot of our young soldiers that's come here with small kids, I think that's a very good incentive to make them, get them here and to keep them here. And definitely that's always what we want is growth as much as we can get. So just a huge thank you for continuing to push that along. And we good presentation you guys had here tonight. So we just look forward to seeing good things there. Next thing, Junction City is getting hotter, so definitely everybody stay hydrated, stay cool as much as possible. Speaking of the outside, there's also Juneteenth this Saturday the 9th. I think starting about 8 or 9-ish, so I think it's going to go pretty much all day. So I encourage everybody to get out to that event and definitely enjoy that as well. We have an animal shelter meeting coming up this next, so I'll be in attendance at that. And other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Flint Hills Regional Council had a very successful conference last month, May 16th in Manhattan. I know some of you were able to attend, and that was the first one. I think it's going to be an annual event every year, and next year I think it's going to be over here in Junction City at the Convention Center. Had quite a few people there, and they did make some money on that, so that was a really good, a lot of good information on that. Then on the Friday of the same week, we had the Flint Hills Regional Council meeting over at the Opera House. Went very well. We had representatives from our legislative representatives speak, and it was a very, very good meeting. We had hosted quite a few folks there from our surrounding communities, and so I think I really liked what I'm seeing with Flint Hills Regional Council moving forward, so
very good.
Real happy with that. I just want to mention that the last couple of weeks I've kind of been out and about in the city looking around a little bit. I guess that goes back to the days that I was in charge of code enforcement when I was the chief of police, and I'm a little disappointed with the weeds that I'm seeing, junk cars, things like that. I'd like the enforcement arms of the city that are responsible for code enforcement to really kind of be hitting a little bit harder than what we're doing right now. Of course, we don't see actually what's going on, letters and stuff that are going out, mowing and stuff like that. I don't really have much information as to how many yards were cut and how many letters were sent out, how many contacts were made and so on and so forth. But Grand Avenue looks pretty bad in some spots. Some of those vacant businesses and stuff, that weeds are growing up in the parking lots, and some junk cars parked in front of a business on North Washington Street. And I think it's just something that code enforcement and whoever else, police department, really needs to be focusing on these particular problems to make sure that our city looks the best. I know, Dan, I know you guys have been out there hitting the vehicles in the front yards, between the front of the house and the curb lines, and banning vehicles on the streets and so on and so forth. But the grass is really, even though we haven't had a lot of rain, there's still a lot of problems with that out there, and it makes the city look bad. And I don't know what more we can do. If maybe we need to look at at budget time, maybe putting some more people in the code enforcement section, because I know there's 2 right now that are devoted to, one north and one south, I believe. Alan, am I correct? Jeremy and Steve and such. But I think some of this stuff really needs to be hit a little bit harder, and that's really all I have.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of things. I do sit on the Military Affairs Council. Pretty much spoke a lot about that at the last meeting. A couple of things, though, that is happening with Fort. Friday is the division change of command on Fort Riley, so Major General Martin will be departing, and Major General Kolashevsky will be assuming that command on Friday on Fort Riley. The month of June, if you starting to hear a lot more noise outside with our militaries because they are on a big exercise called Gauntlet, so there'll be a lot more noise. So just please bear with that. It's just a big exercise, and that's probably dealing a lot with 1st Brigade and what are other units that are here that haven't been deployed. 2nd Brigade continues to return back from Europe, so we're starting to see a lot of those soldiers that's been gone for the last 8-9 months. Returning back into our communities and everything. Then next MAC meeting will be on June the 14th at 4 o'clock at the chamber. We have MAC breakfast. I know we have another meeting. I'll mention it again. It's on June the 28th, and I'm mentioning that one because our guest speaker is going to be the 2nd Brigade Command Sergeant Major, and he will be presenting about their trip that they just went on over in Europe. And last thing that I'll mention is if you're familiar with the Junction function, the big chamber event every year, we're already starting to have meetings to start planning that for later in the year. And the last thing is the Chestnut Street, and thank you, Jeff, for pointing those out. It's looking very, very good, and I just want to give some kudos out to our parks because 2 weekends ago, the Girl Scouts came out and planted the flower bed that they sponsored, and our parks folks were there and gave them on-the-job training on how to plant, and it was really a good time out there. So we sure do appreciate that, and the Girl Scouts learned a lot from it. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Just a couple things. There were some really great Memorial Day services around town, the Opera House and out of Fort Riley, and also in Heritage Park. I'd like to thank all the groups that participated in those. Also like to thank Shauna Settles for all she's done for our community the last several years. We appreciate all your help, keeping us in line and always being prepared, and thank you for everything you've done. So we welcome Tammy to slide right in. So that's about all I have. Mr. Dinkle.
Thank you, Mayor Landis. First of all, Sundown Salute is selling arm brands. J.C. Proud, $5 to help fund. So we're a little jewelry to help fund the Sundown Salute thing. Codes, I know the guys are sending out tons of letters. One thing that has slowed the process this year, and is that we now follow the state statute, is that we were sending letters out and automatically mowing at day 10. It's taking longer with the letters, but I'm convinced that we're doing it the right way. We're following, if we ever get contested in court, we're covered that way, and the way we should be, and we're moving forward with that. It takes a little longer because if letters aren't claimed, it just takes a little more time. And I know they're working on some big areas you see all the time, but they're out there, and we keep, trust me, they get letters every day from me, little emails about different spots, and usually most of them are in the process. It's just, that first one's always the toughest one to get going on. I did put the people at Village at Freedom Place with contact with codes on that fence that was talked about last time. One of the issues there is the fence was on the property of the mobile home court, and it was taken down because we had cited it a few times because it was falling down. There was nails and boards and everything else, so they removed it. We didn't force them to move down. We just had warned them. And so to put a fence back up, they're going to have to work with them because it's actually on the property of the mobile home court, not the village, because on the east side, on the other side of the street. So I get them talking to Mark, so hopefully they'll move forward and they can go with that. As we mentioned, Shauna, we're going to be losing Shauna. She will have a couple of budget meetings next week, but 15th is her last day as city clerk, and it's been a good 2.5 years as city clerk and with the city for 5 years, maybe. Yeah. Tammy will officially be city clerk on the 18th. To my right, Katie is going to walk away from me too. Decided she thinks she needs to retire a little bit and spend more time with her husband. Again, I don't understand that one, but Katie will probably be at the next meeting or so because we have some projects she's working on the one project we've been talking about, Project Wildcat that's come to fruition, hopefully in economic development, and got her started, and we're not going to drop it off. Britton Stites is the new city attorney. Britton has been our prosecutor, add the duties to there. We had kind of moved some stuff to Britton last summer already. There was some stuff that Katie had Britton do on the one lawsuit we had that Britton handled it quite well, and so very confident. And you'll probably see Katie on some special projects yet until we get Britton moving forward, and we've talked about this. So again, thanks for her service. And our new finance director, Lindsay Miller. I couldn't think of her name. Lindsay Miller will start next Tuesday. So moving forward with the changes. And again, we hate to see them all go, but I know we're in shape to move forward. And I'll, like I said, hand it to Shauna that she has Tammy well lined up, ready to go. And so that'll be good. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Logan.
Well, since this is my last official, I guess, city attorney up at the dais meeting, I just want to say I've just been privileged to be the city attorney for Junction City. I've really enjoyed it very, very much.
Well, we appreciate everything that you've done in keeping us out of trouble and steering us through the bad times, but we all remember, and you're a big part of that team that made that happen. So thank you for everything you've done.
Well, and I will still be, in the background and sometimes in the foreground, so.
Good.
It's not goodbye. You'll see me less often.
Well, thank you. Mr. Stites.
I have nothing much to add, but thank you for the opportunity. And I'll have Katie on speed dial pretty much.
Very good. Ms. Settles?
It's been a pleasure working with everybody. I'll be here next week for the budget sessions, but not ready to go, but don't really have a choice, so.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Ms. Melton.
Just excited to get started in the city clerk position and fill her shoes pretty well.
Very good. Chief Reese.
I do have something. I didn't have anything to say until I was surprised the vice mayor didn't bring up something that I thought she would bring up. Last Thursday, we had the 37th annual Special Olympics Law Enforcement Torch Run. And I thought the last 4 years it was appropriate that one of the members of the Junction City Commission led that torch run. And so Ms. Fitzgerald led us down Grand Avenue from Fort Riley all the way to Heritage Park. We had a great time. We had a lot of kids that are involved in Special Olympics, headed by former retired Junction City police officer John Haggerty. And it was a great time. We went by the municipal building, people cheered us on, and I don't know, Alan, were you heckling us or something? No?
Alan couldn't get out of the building, so.
Okay. But it was great, and thank you for your support, and thank you, Ms. Fitzgerald, for doing that.
You're quite welcome. Next year, we'll all be there.
I think you're the only one that could run it.
I was going to nominate Phyllis to run again.
I'm quite certain, actually.
Yeah.
Just give us water along the way.
Chief Johnson.
Might not be that fast. We could do it.
I'm happy to announce that our new ambulance is fully in service. So, and it is, from what I understand, the sirens on it are very loud. Dewey calls me every time the ambulance goes by the station there. They kind of noticed it, so. But our new ambulance is in full service and has run multiple calls. So thank you very much for that. That's a wonderful addition to our department. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Ibarra. Nothing. Mr. Osborne? Mr. Grumman?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Lazier? Mr. Peterson?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we're out. Thank you.